Everyone, Sean Ruggiero, Family First Life, Advanced Market Sales. I'm here with Bridget Reimer. Thank you today.
Hello.
So today we're going to do an in-home presentation, cradle to grave, show you how we use a financial inventory, whether this is a mortgage protection or a final expense appointment, and use that financial inventory to unearth opportunities for advanced market sales, meaning things that we pivot off for annuity and IUL sales. When I do the in-home presentation, I've been in the field, was a solid producer, but the in-home that you use that one. Use whatever your manager recommends. This is just one example of an in-home presentation. But how we use the financial inventory is really pretty universal. And I think when we talk to agents in the field, they might be stumbling around a little bit. We've had a lot of agents request this type of training, so I think it'll be good.
The golden question. Yep.
The golden question, yep, exactly. And then how to use that long-term care question too. We're going to show them how to use that. So in this scenario, Bridget, you're going to be 64 years old. Okay. First scenario, you're going to be unmarried, single professional, and $300,000 of assets. And she is going to be retiring in 3 years from her job. So we make an introduction, we come to the kitchen table, and we get started. So, Bridget, the first thing I want to do is explain to you that there's 3 basic steps of what I'm here for as a field underwriter. The first step is to ask you some questions to find out what you would qualify for, because it doesn't make much sense for me to show you something that you wouldn't qualify for. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Great. Second thing is we want to make sure that it fits your budget, the price point, because if it's out of your budget, that also doesn't make any sense. And then the third thing is we want to make sure that the home underwriter, is just kind of a check and balance type scenario, that the home underwriter agrees with my findings so that we know that we can fly through suitability and get approval if we send in a request for coverage. So this whole process takes about 15 minutes, maybe 20 if you have a few questions. Any reason for us not to proceed?
No, go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, you're welcome. All right, so that's when I'm going to start with the financial inventory. So this financial inventory is helping us to understand what products they have, what policies they have, what their health is, medications, things of that nature. When I first started a decade plus ago, I think of Matt and I asking a lot of these questions on the phone. We've become much more efficient when we aren't asking these questions on the phone so we can get in the house. But we need to know what medications they're taking, what their health is, what their age is, to find out what they would qualify for from a mortgage protection and final expense standpoint. But I'm going to show you how to use the financial inventory to uncover that, but also the annuities and IUL opportunities. All right, Bridget, so real quick, let me get your email because I'm going to send you copies of any correspondence that we have here.
Yeah, it's Bridget at fflinw.com.
Okay, great. I've got today's date. And did I spell your name correctly there?
Yep, that's
okay.
perfect.
This goes in your file, so I want to make sure I have it correct. And your date of birth?
11/22.
Whatever 1960 equals, yeah, exactly. Okay, great. So that makes you 64 years old.
Yes.
Okay, and currently unmarried?
Correct.
Okay,
Yep.
great. And I have the address here as 1234 First Street. That is correct?
Yep.
And we are in Everett, Washington, 99126. Any children, Bridget?
No children.
Okay.
No.
All right. Now, monthly income, I need this for qualification purposes. It also helps us give an analysis. Give me your monthly income before taxes, just gross numbers.
5,000. Yeah.
Okay, great. And that's your
said
salaried
a month,
employee?
right?
Yes,
Yep.
And that you're a salaried employee?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
all right. Medical conditions, you seem pretty healthy, but tell me a little bit. Are any medical conditions we need to be aware of?
No, nothing hidden.
Okay, and you're a non-smoker?
No.
Okay, great. Bridget, do you have any long-term care coverage in place?
I do not.
Okay, that's all right. A lot of people don't. Any medications that you're taking?
No, sir.
All right, great, thank you. Now, I'm here for a mortgage protection request. I handed that to you earlier. The mortgage balance, according to our records, was $180,000. Is that correct?
Yep, that's pretty close.
All right, and this is a 30-year note?
Yes.
All right, and what's your monthly payment?
$1,200.
Okay, thank you. A nice house, too, and I like this neighborhood. New development here. What is the approximate value of your home? Do you know?
It's probably about 320.
Okay, great.
Halfway through that, so.
Great, good job. So you got some substantial equity, okay? Now, current life insurance, okay, this is an important part of the qualification. They need to know all current policies that you've had or you have applied for, whether you were approved or declined. Do you have any current life insurance, be it term insurance or whole life?
No, I might have a small policy through work.
Okay,
But
okay.
yeah, that's it.
All right, okay, yeah, and those unfortunately don't stay with you, the work
Right,
policies. But I'll put nothing, okay, great. Now, do you have anything that acts like life insurance? Something like, and what I mean is that something that's free appropriate, something you can access in times of need, maybe a 401k, an IRA, an annuity, something of that nature?
Yeah, I do have a 401k through work.
You do, okay.
It's about 300,000 right now.
Okay,
Yeah.
great, good work, good job. All right. Now, you're 64, so next year, actually, it was 6 months prior to your 65th birthday, which will be in about 4 months, you need to start shopping around for a Med Sup or a Med Advantage plan. Have you done any research on that?
I have not.
You haven't? Okay. Well, I can't do it in this sit down, but I have some information I can share with you. That's something that we can handle too through our company.
Great.
All right, great. And that is about it. So I want to pause real quick. There's 2 questions in there that we highlight that are really for uncovering advanced markets, annuities and IULs. The first one is do you have any long-term care coverage? Okay. The second one is, do you have anything that acts like insurance, such as a 401k, an IRA? And I'm going to show you in these couple scenarios how we use that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm first going to assume that we complete the business of the mortgage protection. All right, we write up maybe a HMS cash back, something to help her with the mortgage protection. But then before I leave, I'm going to use what we call a segue. Now, the most popular segue, when someone does have a 401k, an IRA, or something that acts like insurance, is how much can you afford to lose? And that's what I'm going to use. I'm also, as you're going to see, working the idea of long-term care, or I could use long-term care. I'm going to talk about that in a second example scenario of this. But for this one, I'm going to hone in on at $300,000. I'm looking at someone here who is self-sufficient, done this by herself, has a good paying job, and has saved up money, and she needs to be prepared for retirement. So we're going to go ahead and go back to that. So we've completed the business here. And Bridget, real quick, I'm going to have everything submitted as a request for approval through the home office with the carrier that we have chosen. But before I leave, I wanted to ask you a quick question in regards to the 401k. All right, we do holistic financial protection, holistic financial planning, and what that means is that we protect human capital through life insurance, but we also protect financial capital. Right? When you were 20 years old, you didn't have much in your 401k, but you had a lot of time ahead of you. Now that you've built up that 401k and you're going to be retiring here in, what did you say, 3 years?
Yeah, about 3 years.
Okay,
Yeah.
age 67. Yeah. You need to be asking yourself, what are your plans, and what are your plans with your money? What do you want to have happen? What do you want it to look like? And what are some of the things that keep you up at night? So any ideas? Let's start with the one that's a little bit more fun to talk about. Any plans for retirement?
Just want to travel a little bit, enjoy not working, finally,
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, and then just live a comfortable lifestyle.
Okay, okay. And that's a cool thing. That's something you should be able to do. That's what retirement's all about. What about concerns? Is there anything that concerns you heading into retirement? Obviously, you're going to be stopping. You're not going to be putting money in anymore, and you have to start drawing some money out.
Yeah.
What concerns you about that?
Really just losing some money, right? If I'm not putting any more money in and taking money out, then it's going to go away eventually.
Right.
I remember back in the market crashes, 2001, and I think around 2008, I lost a little bit. And so that's probably my number one concern.
Sure.
Is just making sure the money lasts while I'm alive.
Yeah. Well, and look how healthy you are. You're most likely cruised through underwriting. You're not taking medications. I saw pictures of your mom, and then she called while we were in here.
She's still alive.
Yeah. Okay, fantastic. So you have longevity, and
yeah.
that could be something that is a blessing, but also a point of concern. Well, like I said, we do specialize in safe money growth and retirement income planning. That is what we do. I want you to take a look at something here and think to yourself, how much can you really afford to lose? So when you're accumulating this money throughout the years, building up your 401k, you would look at statements and, more times than not, it goes up, but sometimes it comes down also, all right? Now that you're not putting money in there, now that you need to take money out here coming up soon, you know, you got to ask yourself, how much can you really afford to lose?
Yeah.
And it's a somewhat rhetorical question, but the reality is this: we haven't been faced with this dilemma in our entire lives. This is a new frontier. So this is where what we offer, primarily something called an FIA, really does a great job of offering all the protection while eliminating fees, okay, eliminating downside market risk, and getting better returns oftentimes than what you'll see in more conservative investments. Okay. All right. So I want to leave this with you. It's a trifold that we have, and you can notice, everyone, this is the guaranteeing safe growth and income for retirement. This trifold now, correct me if I'm wrong, can now be digitally print. You see my pause there to make sure I wasn't putting my foot in my mouth. It can now be digitally printed through the fflams.com website, and it will have your picture, your logo, everything, all your contact information, so it can be very personalized. But in this here, Bridget, and I'll leave this with you, it talks about the top 5 fears that retirees have. Something to look at, because many of these cross into what you're talking about, not wanting to lose money, being a little bit nervous about if you're going to run out, especially if you're going to live for a long time. And utilizing something called an FIA, you're going to see here how this FIA offers upside participation but no downside risk. So, Bridget, if I was going to illustrate this here, and this is actual returns from the S&P 500 from 1998 through 2017, okay? And you'll see that red line there is the S&P 500. And as it goes up, it does what you would expect. It goes up pretty strong. This gold line here, or green line here, is a simulation of what is called a fixed index annuity. Now, in this case, you can see it is participating. It is going up, not as high as the market, but it is going up when the market goes up. But what I want you to realize here is that when it goes down, and this was that 2001 drop that you were recalling, see how it does not go down at all? See, it gives you that insulation, gives you that protection from market pullbacks, right? Or any depressions or recessions that might be coming up. And then as the market comes back up, even though it was from a lower price point, you never lost any ground, so your annuity continues to go up. And if it goes down again like it did in 2008, your annuity stays level, so on and so forth. Another thing that it offers is FIAs can offer lifetime guaranteed income. So even if the money ran out, it will guarantee you income payments if you so chose. So there's a few different options. I really don't want to get too far in the weeds right now. I want to give this to you and then ask, can you give me a statement? It doesn't have to be a brand new statement. It could be a statement even from a year ago that gives me an idea of where your 401k is, where it's invested. And I'll come back on Tuesday and I will show you a plan using an FIA.
Awesome. Yeah, here's that.
Okay, great. All right, I will see you Tuesday. So that's what we call the segue. You know, how much money can you lose? A brief explanation. Having these in your briefcase is helpful because we want to be able to give them something to get something in return. And you notice I conducted my mortgage protection business. I used the financial inventory, but because she said, yes, I do have something that acts like insurance, I was able to seamlessly bring up what we do, protecting financial capital as well as human capital, and now get a statement. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send this statement through the CRM or preferably through fflams.com to the Ask a Specialist. And that's where your team, I get a copy of it, gets a hold of it. So we're going to have Lauren Jackson talk to you now about what she does with this once the Ask a Specialist has been submitted. Okay, everyone. So I am going to have my scenario and submit it to Ask a Specialist. So what I want to do is go to fflams.com. That's fflams.com. If you haven't registered, you can do so with your Athene or Americo agent ID and the last 4 digits of the phone number. There is a getting started guide, real handy and helpful. But in this case, I have registered. I'm going to go ahead and log in. So now we're going to go up here to Ask a Specialist. This is also available on a mobile version. I can go to either submitting an annuity, IUL, or an app for review. So if I've written an annuity or an IUL app and I want to have it reviewed for suitability, I highly recommend that. You can do that here. I can also download the PDF and use this in home. But I'm going to quickly go through this and submit the client's name, date of birth, the state. The target premium was the $300,000. No spouse in this situation. It's coming from a traditional IRA. It is not from active employment, and they want the safest growth with the best possible returns. They are not currently taking money from the account. They anticipate taking withdrawals at age 67, and this is where I'm going to give any information I have. So as much or as little information that you have, provide a narrative for the situation here for the AMS team. So client wants to retire in 3 years and use some money to go on vacation, followed by random spending for car, charity, and long-term care. Interested in 0 fees. So you get the idea here. And then she gave me a statement. If that was a real statement, I would upload it and then submit. So it says you'll be back. You'll hear it back within 48 hours. It's normally as quick as 24 hours. So that's how we submit to Ask a Specialist.
Hey, Sean. Thanks for your submission. So it looks like Bridget's going to live a long time, and we need to protect her retirement from fees and downside market risk. And we also need to account for the required minimum distributions that will start at age 70 and a half. So I'm recommending the Performance Elite. This product has great accumulation potential with uncapped participation rates, 0 fees, and no downside market risk. And furthermore, it's currently offering a 7% transfer bonus on the premium. So in the attached illustrations, I've given a hypothetical situation to new car purchases, retirement trips to Europe, as well as long-term care and even charity giving. So the flexibility and protection from downside market risk while eliminating fees and receiving a transfer bonus seems like a sure fit. And it will also pay you around $20,000 of commission. So good luck and go help that client.
Okay, we're back. We've asked the Ask a Specialist. They've gotten back to us with a scenario, illustrations, even an application, and we're ready to go. So I'm sitting back down with Bridget, and I'm going to start by picking up with the same trifold and saying, okay, Bridget, so thanks for sitting down with me again. I've prepared something for you to look at, but really quickly, I do want to review what it is that we're looking at, the fixed index annuity. So as you recall, the fixed index annuity it is not designed to beat the market, okay? Markets are great for accumulation. That's why you were invested in it for so long. But what it is designed to do is participate in the upside market, not participate in anything that's in the downside.
Right.
And while it's doing that, eliminate all fees and eliminate worry. I mean, because that's a big thing, right? You said that's something that you're concerned about. You also said that you don't have any long-term care, and being a self-sufficient person, I'm sure that's something that you want to make sure you can take care of, not be in a Medicaid spend-down situation, not be in a situation where you have to rely on others. So I'm going to show you how you can solve a few of those things while protecting your financial capital and getting you better returns historically than maybe just a CD or some of these things that these days just aren't paying much money. So right here we have something called the Performance Elite 15. Athene is a company headquartered out of West Des Moines, Iowa. They are an A-rated financial company, and they actually have a very high solvency ratio, the highest in the industry. Now, real quick about that. Annuity companies work differently than, say, companies that offer stocks or bonds. Annuity companies are held to a higher standard. And what they do is they have to be a legal reserve company. So a legal reserve company is someone that proves every year in an independent audit to your state, so they're not federally regulated, they're state regulated, they have to prove that they have at least $1 of cash for every $1 of liability. Athene hovers somewhere around $111 of cash for every $100 liability. They're probably the strongest company when we look at balance sheet and finances out there. Furthermore, you're in the state of Washington, and beyond everything that Athene offers with their guarantees, the state of Washington will guarantee it beyond that, just in case something happened, which it's not going to happen. But if something happened that we couldn't foresee, Athene pays into a state guarantee fund. And in Washington State, it goes up to $500,000, which easily covers your $300,000.
Okay.
So the reason I explain that to clients is to give them an idea of some of the safety and security before I go into the illustrations. Now, what I want to do here is run through these illustrations, okay? So this packet here is going to have some definitions in the beginning, okay? It's then going to start by showing you a scenario, which is the guarantee. Now, what I want to show you in that scenario is this, 0%. So going back to the trifold here and going to the fixed index annuity graph, the guarantee is that will never go down, all right? Now, in order for this hypothetical situation to be true, then it would have to be that the market goes down every month, every year for the rest of your life, which is probably going to be 3 decades, okay? I'm not concerned about that. I don't think you should be. The chances of that happening, I think, are less than 0. But by law, that's a guarantee, and we want to show you the guarantee. I guess if that did happen, and if the market goes down every month, every year for the rest of your life, not losing any money
Pretty good place.
is a pretty good place, right?
Yeah.
So anyways, that's what that is. But I don't want to waste your time or mine in pouring over the details of a 0% return. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip forward to this hypothetical situation. Now, this is using something called backcasting. It takes 20-year averages, looking backwards, actual returns, and projects them forward, because the best idea of what the future is going to hold is looking back at history. So will it be exactly 4%? I've illustrated a 4% here, kind of a conservative, realistic average. And listen, agents, there's ways to make illustrations show 5.5%, 6% sometimes. I oftentimes really don't do that. And the reason I don't do that is because you're selling it for the wrong reason. Notice I haven't even talked about the bonus that it offers, because that's also a distraction. Sometimes it seems too good to be true. It seems almost gimmicky. The best annuity salespeople out there are the ones that sell how we're showing you to sell it. So coming back to the illustrations, see this illustrated rate of 4%, 4.03? This is a very realistic, conservative amount. And what we have here, and remember this is qualified money, so it's money that you've never paid taxes on, is you put the $300,000 in. Now, you see how that number is already $326,000 year 1?
Yeah.
That's because this offers something called a premium bonus. It'll actually give you a 7% bonus or $21,000 the day that you transfer it over.
Okay.
It's not the reason I would do it, but it's a really cool thing that they are offering, and I'll explain a little bit more about that later. But if you recall, retiring in 3 years, so this is great for something called glide path, right? You're putting the money in, you're getting a bonus, and you're preparing for retirement, making sure that you don't have any losses that you suffer. All right, we are in the longest bull market in history, right? Bull market charging up. What are the chances it levels out? Probably pretty good. What are the chances it goes down? Maybe good. I'm not Rasputin. I'm not clairvoyant. If anyone says they know it's going to happen, they don't. But if it does happen, you'll not participate in those losses. All right. Now, age 67, that's the retirement date in 3 years. And you see right here, see that amount I have taken out? I have $10,570 coming out of the account. That's that vacation. That's that trip to Paris or Italy. You've got your airfare covered. You've got your souvenirs covered. You've got your hotels covered. It's a nice chunk of change that you've earned, and you can spend that money, and you can point to that and know that on the calendar, because you're not going to have fees and you're not going to be suffering any market losses, that you'll be able to take that vacation. So start planning it. That'd be kind of a cool thing. Now, see here at age 70, right? See how we start taking money under this RMD withdrawals? Have you heard of RMDs, or with required minimum distributions?
Just a little bit. It's when we have to take money out, right?
That's right, yeah.
Okay.
So that's a tax classification thing. Again, this is qualified money, money that the IRS has never received their income tax on. So, you know, we have governments to run and roads to build and all that sort of stuff. So the IRS has a rule that at 70.5, in fact, just by December 31st of the year you turn 70.5, you have to start taking out some money.
Yeah.
Now, a helpful tool, I have another trifold for you, okay? And again, this can be printed with your name and face and logo on it. Understand retirement, Bridget. This outlines quite a few things, but in it, it talks about the RMD schedule. How much, what percentage would be required. Oh, and by the way, remember how we talked about in about 4 months, you're gonna need to look at Medicare supplements or Medicare Advantage plans? That's all over here for which plan does what.
Okay.
And a few other things that you might want to know, maybe how Social Security is going to be taxed, because we return that when you retire, and then sequence of returns risk, something that you would be avoiding altogether by using an FIA. So I want to hand that to you. You can take a look at that later. But that is the RMD right there. We're actually calculating it, and the nice thing about Athene as a custodian is they will take care of that for you. Okay. They'll send you a letter that says that based on our calculations, you're going to have to pay yourself. You know, big problem to have, right? $14,387. And that's nice because you don't want to have a nasty 50% penalty from the IRS. And I did state that correctly. It's 50%. So if you owed X taxes on it, so let's say you made $10,000 of profit and you were going to have to take that out, then the taxes, let's say the taxes are 25% or $2,500, they're going to tack on $1,250. 50% penalty, all right? So nice thing about Athene is that they're going to make sure that that's taken care of. So here we are now from ages 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, taking out RMDs. Now, right here at age 75, I have another $20,000 coming out. That's actually for a car. Now, I know this is hypothetical. Your car seems like it's fine, but you might need a new car. You're going to be spry. You said your mom is or just stopped driving or still driving, right? So this is the idea that we're trying to paint a picture with words. We're trying to give them an idea that we're planning for their future. And at the same time, we're doing it with eliminating all fees, eliminating market loss, and eliminating worry. Now, RMDs continue to come out. And then right here, Bridget, in our previous meeting, you talked about really being committed to your church charity, something that was very, very important for you. And so what I have here, completely optional, but this is $53,000 plus that's coming out of your account at age 84. That is a donation. Okay, now it would be tax deductible, which is great, but the point being, you have that type of flexibility because you had said that you do a lot of volunteer hours. I know people late in life, in my experience, oftentimes feel more like giving, and so that is what that is there. Now, let's fast forward to age 90, and you can see at age 90, we start taking out $50,000 every year, okay, concluding at your death at age 94. Now, do I know that's going to happen? No. But what I'm showing here is a hypothetical situation, a very realistic situation where she needs long-term care.
Okay.
And see, you said you don't have any long-term care coverage. It's very expensive as if you wait to age 64, 65, 66, and it can actually be difficult to be approved on in certain situations. Not to say you wouldn't, but now you have this big chunk going in for something that, honestly, you might not be able to use. And most long-term care plans are reimbursement plans, okay? This is different. This is not long-term care coverage. This is just saving with a vehicle that eliminates fees, eliminates downside market risk, and eliminates worry.
And
but
then
planning
use my
properly.
own money. Yeah.
Use your own money. And you might use that for something else. You might give more to charity. You might go for more travel. But now here, by age 93, you have withdrawn almost $600,000 off of your original $300,000, and you still have a cash value remaining of $130,000. So you can see here there's a lot of upside potential, a lot of protection, and a lot of flexibility. Now, what I want to show you is this. When's the last time you sat down with a financial advisor or someone who is, we see these commercials on TV about Lipper averages and average returns, and people talk about it at the water cooler. But when's the last time someone didn't talk about the average, but the worst something did? This here, and I'm going to show everyone this here, these 3 blue boxes are a fantastic tool for selling a fixed index annuity. Now, Bridget, what I want to show you this is, see this number of 4.03%? That's the number I illustrated because it represents the most recent 10 years of the last 2 decades.
Yeah.
And in fact, if you even break it down 10 years ago, 9 years ago, 8 years ago, you can see what actually returned in those years. So some years were lower, say 1%, 0.51%, but no negative numbers. And some years were higher, 8%, 11%, etc.
Yeah.
Okay? So that's the average. In the best 10 years over the last 2 decades, using this conservative illustration I used, it did even better at 4.7%. But here's what always floors me about these fixed index annuities. Because they eliminate fees and they eliminate downside market risk, if we took the worst 10 years, maybe you hit 2001 and 2008, both of them being very depressed times to be invested in the stock market, it still earned 3.31%.
Wow.
You actually made money during bad times. And so that's one of the things I like to point out to let you know where we got that number and also some of the safety and security that you have using a fixed index annuity. Okay, now, my mother always told me that if something's too good to be true, it's probably not true. That is ever so true when it comes to a fixed index annuity. So how is something going to eliminate all fees, saving you tens and tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of dollars the course of your retirement? How is it going to eliminate all market risk and still have these competitive gains? It does this with limiting your liquidity, okay? So there's something called a surrender schedule. Okay, now this surrender schedule here lays this out. So for 15 years, you have a surrender schedule applied to this. You are allowed to take 5%. So if we took just the base 300,000, not count the bonus or anything like that, which you actually do get to count, I'm just not that good at math, so I'm going to use the 5%.
Okay.
You can take out $15,000. Okay. As the account grows, you can take out more and more and more, representing 5%, and there is no penalty whatsoever. But if you take out more than $15,000, let's say you take out another $1,000 over the 5%, they're going to keep 15% of that year one. So year one, they would keep $150 of that 1,000.
Okay.
All right. Year two, it stays at 15. Then it goes down to 14, 13, 12. You see how it starts to drop as you go to where it gets down to where they would keep only $40 of 1,000 beyond the free withdrawal percentage. Okay. Now, a couple of things to point out. One, if your RMD ever exceeds the 5%, you'll never be penalized. You can't be penalized for taking out an RMD. And two, when we talk about proper financial planning, this really is a non-issue. Now, hear me out. Have you ever heard of the Safe Max, the 4% rule in retirement? Okay, it was a study done in 1994 by a guy named William Bengen at Trinity University. And he went through and he calculated thousands and thousands of scenarios in all different market environments where if you took out 4%, now he didn't count fees and bond rates were a little higher back then, but it's a pretty good number. If you took out 4%, you'll never run out of money for 30 years. Now, sometimes in some scenarios you'd have $1 left. In some scenarios you'd have all your principal left. That's the market. But the Safe Max rule is a good rule. Well, here we're saying you can take out 5%. That's higher than 4%. But another thing to consider is this. This is qualified money. You've never paid taxes on it. What happens when you take that money out?
I have to pay those taxes.
You pay
then,
taxes.
right?
That's exactly right. So because we want to keep it in a manageable amount and because we want to not raise our tax footprint any higher, and something that's in this Understand Retirement, something called provisional tax, not to blow you away here, but provisional tax is little talked about. That's what your Social Security is taxed on. So your Social Security is going to either be taxed none of it, 0%, 50% of it, or 100 or 85%. So you could overdraw from your qualified fund and put yourself into the next tax category potentially, and that's something you want to avoid. So for those two reasons, because you're gonna, you want to keep withdrawals to a reasonable amount in retirement, and because you pay tax on every dime you take out of a qualified account, 5% is usually plenty, especially because you have your Social Security, which you are delaying to 67, which would be a nice chunk, and it grows every year with COLA, with the cost of living adjustments. But I want to make sure you understand there is a surrender schedule here, and that does apply. And if you took out too much, there could be some withheld. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And then I'll have the client initial that right on these documents and make sure you upload those to your CRM so that is documented. But that extra illustration there adds legitimacy to what you're doing, And it also protects you because you never know. People get some other input, right? We've seen it from time to time. They go and then their financial advisor comes back and says, you didn't hear about this. So don't sell something too good to be true. You notice that I sold a 4% illustration, not real high, and I really talked about the surrender schedule. So Bridget, more definitions, certain things like market value adjustments for this state. You can read this at your leisure. If you have any questions, please let me know. But I wanted to finish with pointing something out to you. Here's the cool thing about a fixed index annuity. It offers all the safety and security of, say, a CD or a government bond, right? It's not going to go anywhere. But unlike something that, especially in this environment, is getting such low returns, a fixed index annuity has such high potential. Okay, I only illustrated you 4%, but remember in 2017 what a good year we had in the stock market? Yeah. Take a look at this right here. This illustration shows that this account, which had $653,000, got credited in 1 year $161,000. That's a 24% credited amount to their account.
This is a client, like one of
this
your
is an actual client, yeah, exactly. And what
gotcha.
I did is I went ahead and redacted the name, but you can see this is a fixed index annuity from the same company. So knowing that you have that sort of upside potential is pretty exciting.
Yeah.
And hey, if we have a big year and you capture double-digit returns and you gain $30,000 or $40,000 in the account, go take another vacation.
Trips.
Exactly right, exactly right. So I want to point that out to you. It's not the reason to be doing it, but it is why these are the fastest growing tool for retirees and pre-retirees in the United States. Now, the next step is this. The next step is we would want to take an application to make sure that you're suitable and that you're approved. Unlike just open up a bank account, hey, if you have $100, you can go ahead and open a bank account at your local bank or credit union. There is some underwriting to this. I don't think you'll have any issue, but I need to go ahead and complete this and get this started. And if we can get this approved and submitted soon enough, that bonus I was talking to you about, the 7%, so that represents $21,000 cash credit to your account. That's going to be accumulating and earning interest day one. That $21,000 bonus is applicable to the end of the month for sure. I do know that. So if this is something that looks favorable, something that looks good, we would want to proceed with that. In a somewhat timely fashion. And that's not meant to put pressure on you. It's meant because I would be remiss to not let you know that, so we can get that free money. Exactly. Yeah. So what do you say we proceed with the suitability application?
Yeah, that would be great. I love this.
Awesome. Great. So there you have a really basic, straightforward scenario using the financial inventory, using the golden question, the long-term care question, and how we tie that out using our most popular product, the Performance Elite, and really any accumulation product that we use to eliminate fees, eliminate risk, and eliminate worry in retirement. If you need any help with this, please email annuity@familyfirstlife.com. We will show you other scenarios here to come. Thank you.